You hear about the economy all the time, right? Growth, jobs, inflation. But what if I told you that getting all three of those things humming along perfectly at the same time is, well, it's kind of like trying to walk a tightrope in a hurricane. It's this massive, high stakes balancing act. So let's break down exactly how it all works.
I mean, that's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? We all want a booming economy. We want a job for everyone who's looking for one. And, of course, we want the money in our pocket to be worth the same tomorrow as it is today. So, why does achieving all of that at once seem pretty much impossible? Well, the reality is there's no magic button, no single switch to flip for perfect prosperity. You really have to think of economic policymakers as these incredible tightrope walkers. They are constantly making tiny, careful adjustments, just trying to keep the whole system from tipping over one way or the other. Okay, so if it really is a balancing act, what are they actually trying to balance? It turns out it really boils down to four big primary goals. Here they are: economic growth, full employment, price stability, and external balance. Imagine these as the four corners of the platform our tightrope walker is standing on. Each one is absolutely critical, but if you lean too hard towards one, you can throw the others completely out of whack. Let's dig into each one. First up, we've got economic growth. This is basically the engine of prosperity. It's all about making the entire economic pie bigger over time. This is what fuels innovation, leads to higher wages, and ultimately a better standard of living for everyone.
Next on the list, full employment. Now, this doesn't literally mean a 0% unemployment rate. What it really means is that the economy is healthy enough so that pretty much everyone who wants a job can find one. It's about making sure people can provide for their families and use their skills to contribute to society.
And then we have price stability. This one is all about taming inflation. Because think about it, if prices are shooting through the roof, your savings and your paycheck are worth less and less every single day. Stability means your money holds its value, and that's just fundamental for a healthy economy. And finally, there's external balance. This is about how a country's economy interacts with the rest of the world. Are we importing way more than we're exporting? Is our currency going haywire? It's all about making sure our position on the global financial stage is solid for the long haul.
Okay, so we've got the goals down, but how do governments and central banks actually try to hit these targets? Well, they've got a toolkit, and it's got two main sets of strategies inside. And these two approaches, they're really playing different games. You've got supply-side policies, which are all about the long game, making the entire economic engine bigger and more efficient. And then you have demand-side policies, which are more about the here and now, smoothing out those rough patches, the recessions and booms. So when you hear about supply-side tools, think of them as upgrades to the whole system. Better education, that creates a smarter, more productive workforce. Less red tape for businesses, that helps them run more efficiently. Investing in new roads and better internet, that lowers the cost of doing business for everyone. These are all long-term investments in our economic capacity.
Demand-side tools, on the other hand, they're the gas pedal and the brake. If the economy is in a slump, the government might step on the gas with more spending or some tax cuts. The central bank can lower interest rates to make it cheaper to borrow and spend. And if things get too hot, they can do the exact opposite to cool things down.
And this is where it gets really tricky. This is the part any seasoned pro will tell you is the hardest part of the job. You've got your goals, you've got your tools, but using them always, always means making some really tough choices. There's just no such thing as a free lunch in macroeconomics. So here's one of the classic, most difficult trade-offs. It's something economists call the Phillips curve. At its heart, the tension is this. If you rev up the economy to get unemployment as low as you possibly can, you risk overheating everything and sparking higher inflation. But if you slam on the brakes to fight inflation, you might cool the economy down so much that people start losing their jobs. It's a constant, difficult tightrope to walk. And here's another one of those tough choices. As a country, do you spend everything you produce right now? I mean, that feels great in the short term, right? More stuff for everyone. Or do you save and invest some of that money in new factories, new technology, better infrastructure? That means a little less to go around today, but it's really the only way you get strong growth tomorrow. And you know, these trade-offs, they're not just about dollars and cents. Pushing for maximum growth at all costs can lead to some serious environmental damage. Pollution, using up natural resources. That creates huge problems down the road for future generations. This is a balancing act that's becoming more and more central to the whole economic conversation.
So, with all these competing goals and really painful trade offs, how on earth can a country find a stable path forward? It's not easy, and it absolutely requires a coordinated approach.
Real success seems to require three things working together. First, you need the central bank acting as that steady hand, keeping a close watch on inflation. Second, you need the government using its budget as that gas pedal and brake we talked about. But, and this is so important, all of it has to be built on a rock-solid foundation of laws, property rights, and just plain old trust. Without that foundation, the other two policies just crumble.
And this leads us to what one professor brilliantly summed up as the key to managing an economy. Forget about perfection. It's impossible. What really matters to businesses, to investors, to all of us is consistency. A predictable, steady hand on the wheel is so much more valuable than a government that's just lurching wildly from one extreme to the other. So, here's the bottom line. We should think of these big goals not as fixed destinations that we have to reach, but more like directions on a compass. Success isn't about hitting some magic number for GDP or unemployment. It's about consistently moving in the right direction, carefully balancing those four goals, and just making steady, sustainable progress over time.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. The next time you hear a politician promising they can boost growth, create a ton of jobs, and slash inflation all at the same time, well, you now know the hard questions you should be asking. You get the balancing act. Does seeing the whole picture like this change how you listen to the economic news? It's definitely something to think about.